My salams, everybody. My salams. I just finished a book that was gifted to me by my sister-in-law called The Book of Negroes, which is a book about a African Muslim who was enslaved back in the late 1700s or early 1800s. I can't remember the date. And she was originally from Guinea in West Africa, and she was of the the Fulani people, which that's one of my husband's. He's two tribes. So one of his tribes is Fulani, and one is Wolof. And it's so refreshing. And I've been to his country, Alhamdulillah, the Gambia, and it's so refreshing when you learn about the history of Islam in West Africa and how they estimate between 15 to 30% of the Africans who were brought to America as slaves were Muslim. Many of them were Hafiz, knew the Quran, knew Arabic, learned the Quran, participated in Ramadan, all the things we do. It makes you feel so, and of course, my sister did our DNA ancestry, but I want to do the other one that tells you which tribe you're from. So I don't know the tribes that I'm from, or tribe that I could be from, but my husband's family is always like, you look Fula, you look Fulani. So they always say I'm Fulani. So I'll take that. But it's so refreshing as a second generation African-American Muslim to think about the idea and the thought that your ancestors had a high probability of being Muslim when they arrived on the shores of America. And there's a PBS documentary, you can see it on YouTube now, about the history of Islam in America. And it talks about the Africans who were brought to this country as slaves, who were able to still in some way maintain their faith, sometimes in hidden ways, praying in secret. They've even found churches in South Carolina, a church in South Carolina that had Arabic writing of the Quran on the back of a church pew. So there were some Africans who were able to maintain their faith, and then some that maintained it openly. You'll see this if you watch it's called, what is the PBS documentary? Just Google on YouTube, search for PBS documentary about Islam in America. And these were some of the earliest Americans who were Muslim. And so it just fills you up with so much pride and joy when you think about the fact that many of us are returning to the religion of our ancestors. When I landed in Gambia, I went 2 years ago in December with my kids. I cried like I didn't even know those tears were in me. And it felt like I was almost crying for my ancestors, for all their struggle and all their pain, and the fact that and I don't know if I'm from Gambia or not, if my ancestors are from Gambia or not, but more than likely they're from West Africa. So the feeling of that was like no other feeling. I've never cried like that. As soon as the plane door opened and I felt the wind, I felt the air of Africa, it brought me to crazy tears, like snot tears almost. And so I just wanted to share this message. There are so many books. There are even books written by former slaves who were brought to this country as from Africa, from West Africa, and were Muslims. There's autobiographies, there's books, there's documents. And so I can't wait to have time to really delve more into the history of this. But yeah, just I wanted to share that because start studying your history beyond just American Black history. Like, this is what they teach us in schools, is they teach us American Black history, but they don't teach us about the great Muslim kingdoms in West Africa, the Songhai, the Mali empires, the Ghanaian empires. And I was blessed to be able to go to a Muslim school when I was little, and I learned these things in my school. So just start to study history outside of just, what they teach you, because it will blow your mind and it will make you feel even more closer to Islam. And it will make you feel honored to be able to practice the faith that a lot of your ancestors were not allowed to practice. There's a part in the book I just read, the Book of Negroes, where they wouldn't even allow her to speak Arabic. Like, she was trying to hold on to as much as she could of just saying like Allahu Akbar or saying Mashallah or saying Alhamdulillah, which is what she would have been saying in her village, right, she grew up in. And they wouldn't even allow her to do that. They wouldn't allow her to pray. Like, they stripped everything. So yeah, just the reconnection to that is, I think, for your own sense of identity and your own sense of self-worth and value is crucial. So with that, guys, that's all I had to share. I'm going to sign off. My salams.